Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Spirit of Justice. Previously, we managed to prove in court that the second murder victim, Pere Zealot, aka Real Nemu, was not in fact an illegal immigrant to the country of Khura'in. We proved this by magically knowing that he had a cover-up tattoo, and beneath his tattoo, there was a specific tattoo that indicates his rank in the Khura'inism temple, even though this never came up anywhere, and it linked to the records that were in the temple for that location on his body, even though that never came up before. And look, I slept on this, it still doesn't make any sense, so let's just move past this, shall we? We have a new divination seance because we got his real name and face, so just from that glimpse I had of it earlier, it's looking quite promising, so let's get into this, shall we? The victim was offering up his prayers. It was the night of the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. Then, someone was there, and the theme to the plumed punisher filled the air. The accused held the defenseless victim down and plunged her knife into his neck. The blade struck true, and in that instant he departed from this world. That is everything the deceased experienced in his final moments. Her benevolence's insights have painted a detailed picture, both vivid and true. I didn't notice any holes there. As they stand now, those insights are really stacked against us. I'll just have to go over each and every one of the deceased's sensations very carefully. Alright, so I'd like to posit. He's clearly having his hands on these little statues in the shrine. The hidden one. Yeah, those handprints, they match up perfectly with the symbol in front of him. So he's standing upright, trying to hold it steady, perhaps? Because, I remember Phoenix tried touching it, and when he inspected it, it started wobbling and nearly tipping over, and he had to balance it again. So, I think, real Mr. Nemu was experiencing the same thing, which is interesting. So, let's start this from the beginning. Okay, he smells gingerl. He heard the themes. Heavy, it's starting to fall on him. Then sudden pain. He didn't hear anything under the plumed punisher theme. So he felt it was heavy, he heard it, heard the theme song, he smelled gingerl and felt pain, finally. Interesting that in his last moments, he noticed that it started feeling very heavy. Interesting. Huh. Do you suppose he might be falling backwards? Like, this could be the same trick as the scripture. Maybe, just as Abbot Inmi was turning around with his vision obscured, maybe Real is falling backwards and being crushed by this, but no, I doubt that. I feel like getting that stone obelisk. Obelix? What's the word I'm thinking of? Obelix? Obelix? The stone statue back on its feet might be a multi-person job. So I doubt the killer could have gotten it back on vertical on their own. So I'd say, no, it's just like wobbling and he's trying to keep it steady. But, anyway, so I have a thought here. He's smelling gingerl. Didn't Didn't Rafa say, yeah, it was the night of the rite, wasn't Ginjil eaten before? Yeah, Feast of Blessings. Held the day before the rite. It's customary to partake in dishes made with Ginjil. These dishes are only prepared during the feast, which starts at noon on the day before the rite. Must be finished by the afternoon of the same day. Well, I think that already is a hole here. So, yeah, I think this is it. It's the Ginjil that's weird.
Objection!
Was it really the night of the rite? What do you mean? It could not be otherwise. The accused slew Acolyte Zealot after killing the High Priest during the purification rite. The only problem is the deceased spirit does not corroborate that. What's this? Take a good look at what the victim smelled. Do you see how it says Ginjil? Acolyte Zealot shouldn't have smelled any Ginjil on the night of the rite. What do you mean? Let me back up my statements with some evidence for you. This should explain how the victim couldn't have smelled Ginjil on the night of the rite. Here we go.
Take that!
The High Priest's wife, Believe in Me, told me about the Feast of Blessings. The feast includes a number of Ginjil-based dishes, and they're only supposed to be served at a certain time the day before the rite. Why, I believe you're right. I had completely forgotten about that. During the feast, the unique smell of Ginjil pervades the entire kingdom. The fact that the victim smelled it means he was murdered between noon and 3 p.m. the day before the purification rite. Okay, so this might be the part where we have to explain, no, he was not actually at the prayer mat yet. Which means... Wait, okay, hold on, wait, no, this is a problem. How do we... Okay. Riel was supposed to be praying in the mat the entire day before, wasn't he? Was there anything about that? Did the prayers begin the day before or the day of? Huh. So the killer presumably brought him down to the plaza and maneuvered his body so that he looked like he was praying. He was a corpse the entire time, perhaps even back when we were first starting this case and we saw him in the background, which is grisly to think of, but that means the dagger was added later. Which means... he must have been killed by something other than the dagger? Did he really get crushed to death by the stone statue? But that would be reflected in the autopsy report. I am suddenly filled with doubts, but alright. Huh, I am not so easily fooled. Did that autopsy report not make it clear? The estimated time of death was during the rite. Oh, right. I taught her about that yesterday. Forgive me, Your Benevolence, but the estimated time of death is just that, an estimate. Depending on the circumstances, it's possible for it to change. Well, what's this? Like, if a body was kept cold, the slowed rate of decay makes the death seem more recent. Oh, I know how to prove this. The weather report said it's frosty, right? The thick white ice that froze the ground from the inner sanctum to the Plaza of Devotion until yesterday has melted. Well, wouldn't that make him a lot colder and make his body seem older? Wait, hold on. Alright. No, I was thinking how they were talking about how temperature is the measurement of when a body died. But yeah, rate of decay could be slow too. Why, I believe I have heard something of the sort before. If it is as Mr. Wright claims, the estimated time of death in the autopsy report will have to be revised. Aha. Ah, Barbed Head, you blinded me with science. Sorry. Wait, what am I apologizing for? Huh. No matter. The murder may have occurred in the afternoon hours of the day before the rite. Nevertheless, the murder weapon with the accused prints on it is incontrovertible evidence. I will now amend my insight to account for this new truth. The time of death has been corrected, leaving my insight infallible. Nick, a change in the time of death is bound to cause some sort of an inconsistency. If I had something that showed what it was like on that day, it could really help. Oh. Yeah, his vision should be filled with the white frost. Okay, that's how it's gonna be brought up. Okay. A pause here. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. That, I think, is a problem. Thick, white ice that froze the ground from the inner sanctum to the Plaza of Devotion yesterday. AKA the day that this vision is occurring. He was not at the plaza. Which we already knew, but we can prove it now.
Objection!
The change in the date and time of the crime has caused a new inconsistency to surface. What's this? Oh, you're making that irritating face again. Cease that at once. Sorry, but this is the face I was born with. Now let's focus on what is important. What the victim saw in his final moments. Do you have bats in the belfry, Barbed Head? There is nothing to see. The ground at the plaza was all that entered the victim's eyes. And that's what I find so strange. On the day before the rite, it should have been impossible to see that pattern on the ground. Impossible, you say? Do explain. This piece of evidence shows why the plaza's ground was not visible that day.
Take that!
This newspaper has an article that is tiny in size but huge in importance. It says that the ground was covered with thick white ice the day before the rite. What? But... The victim did not see so much as an ice cube on the ground. Exactly. And so we must ask, what was the victim looking at in his final moments? If you have something to say, then say it. The last thing the victim saw was not the ground at the Plaza of Devotion. This can only mean that he was killed elsewhere. What? 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 Then where do you propose the victim was actually killed? Yes, tell us where. Otherwise, your argument is worthless. About that. I hadn't gotten to that part yet. Any ideas, Maya?
Let me think. Well, it's somewhere green and shaggy, right?
Right, but where could that be?
What is it, Barbed Head? Giving up already?
Not at all. Now, where have I seen something green and shaggy? This shows where the victim was killed.
Take that!
The secret hideout the rebels were using.
The rebel hideout? There was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber.
You're absolutely right. There's no place on the floor, anyway. Then what did the victim see in his final moments if not the floor of the rebel hideout? This is what the victim saw in his final moments. Boop.
Take that!
The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of the moss-covered stone slabs. As you can see, there are two distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss here. I believe the victim was killed while he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab.
Objection!
That does agree with the seance vision. However, one cannot definitely declare they are one and the same. I concur. There is no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout.
Indeed. What evidence do you have of this?
I've already shown you the evidence. What do you mean? Please take a look at this second version of the photo I just showed you. You can see the results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone had been bleeding in front of that stone slab. Is this true? This information has already been provided to the police. Detective Sky, to whom does this blood belong?
Well, we thought it was the High Priest's blood that flowed in from outside, so we haven't tested it yet.
Then you must do so at once. Yeah, amateur hour over here.
Yes, Your Majesty.
It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Sky, your report, please.
The blood found in the rebel hideout belongs to Pare Zealot, just like the defense claims.
Detective Sky, do you realize what your blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. There I will deliver a joyous sermon onto you for 8 hours straight.
I'm really sorry, but please, anything but that. Nick, maybe, just maybe, this is the chance we've been waiting for.
Yep, it would seem so. I hate to do this to Emma, but...
Go for it. It's full speed ahead.
The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then his body was moved to the Plaza of Devotion by someone we've yet to identify. So when we thought we saw Acolyte Zealot praying during the rite, he was already dead.
Ah!
And that's not all. If he was killed at the inner sanctum, that would explain one more thing. And that would be? How the time of death was made to look later than it actually was. The proof of which was left behind at the sanctum. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. Oh! Idea? Son of a gun, the guy was buried under the snow. A shoveled out area of snow. That would do it.
Take that!
Why, these are photos of the inner sanctum.
I'd like you to focus on this one. The proof is right here in this photo. This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it really was. Do you see how the snow has been removed from this one spot only? That's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed. The time was mistaken, and the place too. And just what do you believe that proves?
That my client is innocent.
What of her fingerprints on the dagger and the plumed Punisher theme the victim heard?
I can explain the theme.
You have failed to address these two key pieces of evidence.
I see your point.
Wasn't this your big chance, Nick?
I'm really hoping that the difference in location can invalidate either the weapon or the theme song from being used as evidence against you.
Actually, that might be possible, at least for one of them.
Really?
What's this? You say you can contradict our argument for a key piece of evidence? Very well, let us see you try. Nick, take a good look at the rebel hideout photo.
Oh.
The defense can invalidate this piece of evidence.
The theme.
The plumed Punisher theme? And how do you intend to support such a claim?
Since the murder happened in the rebel hideout,
there's something there that played the theme song other than my client's strap.
It wasn't the strap. Is this true?
The item that played the plumed Punisher theme song was this. Wasn't there something about it being plays a song every hour?
Oh.
Yo, if it actually plays the theme song at the top of every hour, that could precisely narrow down the time of death. Later on, maybe.
Take that!
This is a plumed Punisher alarm clock. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off. What proof do you have that the alarm went off?
Objection!
What proof do you have that it was my client's strap that played the theme song? Ah! Do not twist the facts with your lawyerly wiles. Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off of her prints on the murder weapon. And here is what really happened.
Insight revised, hopefully for the last time.
Though there have been some twists and turns, that is the truth of what happened.
Ugh. I won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger. Most impressive, Your Benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in the prosecution's case.
No, there is one.
What's this? You still claim there to be an inconsistency.
Huh, try as you might, the outcome will always be the same.
Okay, I have one idea. Right, so the victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. That I agree with. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. That I agree with. Then someone was there, and the theme to the plumed Punisher filled the air.
Well, the theme, yes, but someone was there? I'm not entirely certain of that. There's a way it could... The accused plunged her knife into the defenseless victim's neck. The blade struck true, and in that instant he departed from this world. Okay, so watch carefully. watch the light level in this. It's light, dimming, dark. And as it grows darker, the heaviness of it intensifies. It's growing heavy. And then pain. I think this man was crushed to death. Which means the autopsifiers? What is the word for someone who conducts an autopsy? Autopifiers. Yeah, the autopifiers did a really bad job. Yeah, I'm just saying it's this, I think. Well... The blade struck true and plunged the knife into the victim's neck are kind of the same statements. I feel like selecting on this one would do the same thing. I'm gonna guess that... Oh, I hope this works. This isn't exactly clear to me. It could be sight, could be heavy, it could be on another line of dialogue. Oh. There was like 4 options to pick. I'm hoping it's this one.
Objection!
Damn it! Your benevolence, isn't this statement inconsistent with the vision? Inconsistent? I think not. Exactly. That's where the inconsistency lies. No, I believe it is in the defense's thought process that the inconsistency lies. Guess there wasn't an inconsistency there after all. Okay. This one?
Objection!
No, really? So am I completely barking up the wrong tree? Okay, let's take this from the top. Okay, so the victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. That I believe. Afternoon of the day before the rite, I believe that. There was someone there, and the theme of the plumed punisher filled the air. The accused plunged her knife into the defenseless victim's neck. The blade struck two, and in that instant departed from this world. I'm kind of at a loss. I tried some really obvious seeming things, but neither worked. It's clearly one of these last two statements that I need to contradict, but what? Do I go for the light? I'm kind of willing to try this sight here because it's so dark, but I feel like the sight, the shadows dimming, the darkness doesn't really contradict either one. And watch the whole thing again. Well, watch it. Smelled. The alarm goes off. It starts tipping over. I want to get this without having to resort to looking up a guide, but I feel well and truly stuck. Oh, okay, I have an idea. So, second autopsy report reports instant death? No, nothing about instant death. Where did I read that? Was it the Abbott's death? No, I think the instant death mention was something way earlier. Huh. I'm actually at a loss. So going the sensation of heavy on either of these two statements is wrong. Maybe in that instant? Instant. If I hinge everything on the word instant here, he then therefore wouldn't have time to feel pain? But no, that doesn't seem right. What do I do? Okay, tell you what, I'm gonna try it on the pain. Yeah, definitely a separate touch sensation. I don't know, I just don't know. Cider touch, Okay, I'm gonna try the pain here. Say no, if you felt it wasn't instant, but where would that even go? Where would that go? What's step 2 in that plan? No, it can't be that. But nothing about the sight of things growing darker contradicts a dagger in the back of the neck. So what gives? No matter how much I think about this and what I look at, I just don't know what the game wants from me. Well, alright, I concede. I admit I give up, so I'm just gonna look up a guide. I am sincerely stuck. And I don't really want to lose too much more health on this, so be right back. Wow. Okay, so focusing on, like, the word instant was kind of what the game wanted for me, but instead, first statement. The victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. I need to point out heavy on this one. I mean, I guess at some point he'd go prone as it falls on him, but oh my god. See, what messed me up is that this sentence, the victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. That's how Rafa's testimony here begins, and, well, that's also how I believe that Real's experience begins. I believe that he was standing upright, his hands on the pillar, and then it falls on him, and he's pushed backwards onto his back, and then crushed. So that's where the disconnect in my brain, my thought process came from. Okay.
Objection!
The victim was originally thought to have been stabbed while bent over in prayer, but he was actually standing with his hands against the stone slab. So the question is, where did the sensation of something heavy come from? Yes, I see your point. Since the victim was standing, he couldn't have been held down. Eep. Then tell us, Mr. Wright, what was that heavy sensation felt by the victim? What caused the heavy sensation Zealot felt? Any thoughts, Maya? I agree, that sense of heaviness seems important, but there's also the matter of Zealot's hands on the stone slab. Why were they even there? Could it be related to the cause of the heavy sensation? Well, Mr. Wright, do you have an answer for us? Of course. If I just envisioned the state Zealot was in when he was killed, the cause of the heaviness the victim felt was the falling stone slab. Finally. The only conceivable cause is the stone slab falling over, trapping the victim underneath. What? Oh, the stone slab came falling down on him, crushing him underneath. Why are you smiling when you say that? Right, that was the cause of the heavy sensation the victim felt.
Objection!
While your theory is impressive, you have overlooked a key fact. The victim was not crushed to death, rather he was stabbed. Oh, yeah. Or do you claim that the dagger was plunged in after the slab had fallen on him? Plus, had the killer been behind the victim, they would have both been crushed together. Well, would you care to explain? Sure, I'd love to. That doesn't mean I can. How could the dagger have been plunged in after the slab fell on the victim? The killer couldn't have plunged the dagger into the victim after the slab fell on him. But what if the murder weapon wasn't what we thought it was? Ugh! Finally. I went on and on and on about someone being impaled on that warbat statue. Yeah, that is reasonably, very, contracted? Cramped. That is a cramped space. Yeah, if the statue was facing towards his back, oh man, okay. Yeah, he wouldn't even have to be knocked prone. And that does solve the answer of how the, murderer, I suppose, managed to get the toppled slab back on its, upright position. Okay. Well, there were other weapons in the rebel hideout. But the entrance to the hideout is right by the stone slab. There isn't enough space between the two to use any of the weapons found within. Yeah, there's not much space by the entrance, is there? So what was the real murder weapon then? I better think of something. If the murder weapon wasn't the dagger, Then the dagger must have been plunged into the victim after he was already dead. That means he was stabbed at least twice, but the autopsy doesn't mention that. Then he must have been stabbed in the same spot with something shaped like the dagger. Would the defense care to offer an explanation sometime this century? Wait, wasn't there something dagger-like near the scene of the crime? Something that had a shape similar to the Warbad dagger.
Present your evidence at this time, Mr. Wright.
This shows what really killed the victim. There's a statue right there, but is there a clearer photo? No, I think that might be it. Unless in here? No. Yep, it's gotta be this.
Take that!
Is this not the photo from the scene of the High Priest's murder? Are you suggesting the murder weapon is hidden wherein? Herein?
This is what really took Pare Zealot's life. Here we go.
Take that!
But that is the
Warbad statue? Exactly. The Warbad statue has dagger-like feathers protruding from it. That is what really took the victim's life.
Objection!
Ugh, this is a grisly death. You imbecilic fool! The statue is outside of the hideout. How do you propose it impaled someone who was inside? Haven't you heard? The Warbad statue also functions as the hideout's door. What do you mean? He hadn't heard. The statue can pull a complete switcheroo. A switch-a-roo. To put it simply, it's a revolving door.
A revolving door? Why, that makes perfect sense.
Therefore, I believe the truth behind the divination seance to be this. As the victim entered the secret hideout, the stone sculpture came toppling toward him. He threw up his hands to stop it, but its weight forced him backwards. Unfortunately, the Warbad statue was right behind him. This cannot be! But the accused's fingerprints were found on the dagger. She had held it while rehearsing for the rite, just when her prints got on it.
Yeah. This is a shocking turn of events, but there is a great deal of circumstantial evidence in the defense's favor. I believe we must accept that the Warbad statue was what killed the victim.
Ah yeah, that's a win. Now that we know how Acolyte Zealot really met his demise, there's no basis for claiming my client committed this crime. Nice work, Nick. How can this be happening yet again? The divination seance is the only truth. No, your benevolence. It's not the truth itself, but it is a means for shedding light on the truth. Ah. Do you understand now? Your kingdom needs lawyers so that they can interpret your insights. But that means I have been misinterpreting the voices of the spirits all this time?
Your benevolence! Are you unwell? All the color has drained from your face.
I will be fine. Continue your proceedings without me.
As you wish.
Goodbye. Don't let the door hit you on your way out. I feel kind of bad for her. I don't.
Now then, I would have the defense continue. Please explain what you have learned now that we know how the victim actually died.
Acolyte Zealot was killed in the hideout before the High Priest's murder. That means the body found at the Plaza of Devotion was moved there by the real killer. But only after the Warbad dagger was thrust into him to make it look like the murder weapon.
That does seem to agree with what we now know. But why would the real killer go to such lengths?
I believe stabbing Acolyte Zealot's body with a dagger and moving it to the plaza was... Right, so a warning from the Twilight Realm and a crime committed for fun are both patently absurd, but to make it look like a serial murder... Yeah. It would make things look worse for Maya. It was an attempt to make my client look like a serial killer. That's right, the real killer planned all of this. This forged serial murder case.
They did.
That's it, Nick. Keep hammering away. Your reasoning has more holes in it than that cheese you foreigners so enjoy. Swiss? Personally, I'm more of a smoked Gouda man. What? Like those putrid hole-riddled clumps of curds that only a rat like you could love. Your reasoning, much like your putrid hole-riddled brain, has putrefied. Ow. What's his deal with things going putrid? You have yet to overturn my argument that the accused is the killer. A careful analysis of the chain of events up to the killing exposes the truth as follows. Disguised as Lady Kira, the accused found the rebel hideout the day before the rite. But Acolyte Zealot had followed her there after noticing her suspicious behavior. Caught by surprise, she pushed the stone slab toward him, and we know the rest. I've never been to the rebel hideout in my life. When the high priest arrived at the sanctum the next day, he realized what she had done. That is when the accused murdered him in order to silence him. Well, if the high priest knew, why would he go through with the rite? I
believe Prosecutor Sadmadi has posed a compelling scenario. The defense, on the other hand, has yet to disprove the accused's guilt.
Objection!
Why would my client move Acolyte Zealot's body to where everyone could see it? And why would she stab the dagger with her fingerprints into the dead body? She had no reason to do any of those things. The dagger in his corpse was likely a warning to the rebels. Something along the lines of Lady Kira will slay the defiant dragons.
So that is why she moved the body to the plaza for all to see.
Now he has the judge convinced too? I thought I'd finally made some headway.
Well, Mr. Wright, about time for one of your groans of distress, is it not?
Groan of distress? It kills me to admit this, but I've got nothing to counter his argument with. And I still haven't disproven the allegations against Maya.
Is it not time to end your futile struggle? You were already judged guilty yesterday. That makes you a dead lawyer walking. Accept the death that now awaits you, and in doing so, finally know peace.
A dead lawyer walking indeed. Then again, are not all lawyers who practice in Khura'in? But I must admit I misspoke earlier. Allow me to amend my statement. I had said the defense's reasoning had a putrid cheese-like smell. but I now realize the stench was from his own putrid body on the verge of death. He is so intensely unlikable. Now I'm a rotting zombie. Think, who could have killed Zealot the day before the rite? Who knew about the rebel hideout and could gain access to the inner sanctum? Only those involved with the rite can enter the sanctum, so... Wait a second. Only a rebel would have known about the secret hideout, and the only person who was involved with the rite had access to the sanctum, and was suspected of being a rebel is... Ah! Did somebody come to mind? Yes, except there's one huge problem. A huge problem? What are you two going on about? Plotting your escape from this sacred hall? I would not put it past you, considering you have no means to raise further objection. If I don't do something, Prosecutor Sadmadi will have this one in the bag. I'll just have to bluff my way out of this, regardless of that huge problem. Your Majesty, I believe there is another suspect in Purée Zealot's murder.
Objection!
Even the most benevolent Holy Mother would not forgive such a desperate lie. After all, you know very well that such a person does not exist. No, there is one person who knew everything.
Does such a figure truly exist? Tell us, who might that be?
I believe the prime suspect in Acolyte Zealot's murder is... Well, I thought of this earlier. She had access to the shrine. She was in the household that received a warning letter. Yep. She fits the bill.
Take that!
Do you truly believe that person to be the killer? Yes, I do, huh?
I too find it hard to believe.
What? Huh? I'm genuinely shocked. What? I guess that makes 3.
3 strikes and you're out, Mr. Wright.
I'd better rethink my strategy. I'm looking for someone who was allowed to enter the sanctum and knew of the hideout. Such a person could very well have killed Zealot. If you fail to give a serious answer this time, I will personally put a muzzle on you? Oh. Do we know if Abbot Inri knew about the hideout? Someone who was allowed to enter the sanctum and knew of the hideout. Well, I mean, he had the key, the eye of the warbad in his house. That's the very same logic I used to suspect Belieb, but I guess I could apply that to Abbot Inri too. Ditto for the warning letter. Well, he couldn't have killed himself, right? It was toppling towards him. That'd just be ridiculous. Now, he knew about the hideout for sure, and had probably been inside it at some point in his life, but the game is saying I'm looking for someone who was allowed to enter the sanctum.
he was not allowed to enter the sanctum. No, sir, he was not allowed. Which means it's either to rust in me or Maya Fey, but to say it's Maya would be ridiculous, and we know she doesn't know about the hideout, so... Was it really him? He's the murderer of real Nemu? Really?
Take that!
It had to be someone allowed to enter the sanctum and who knew of the hideout. And that would be the High Priest. He could have committed the crime if it occurred the day before the rite. You would pin a crime upon the dead, knowing very well they tell no tales. Have you no shame? Dead men tell no tales. That is definitely a problem. Except for, you know, the seance and channeling. If only the High Priest could tell his side of the story. What? Do I have something on my face? Wait a second. Could this actually work? Oh no, don't tell me I have some of my breakfast caught between my teeth. No, if there's even the slightest possibility, I'll have to go with it. Your Majesty, dead men do tell tales. Therefore, I would like to request the High Priest's testimony. Yo. Oh, we're going there. His testimony. And just how do you propose we get the deceased to testify? There's a way for the dead to testify. It's known as... Summon him here by means of spirit channeling. Oh, what did you just say? Spirit channeling? Has this lawyer finally gone insane? This is sacrilege. May the Holy Mother strike him down. Peace. I am frankly astonished you even know of such a thing. But spirit channeling is a secret art that only Her Eminence Queen Khura'in can perform. And Her Eminence is far too busy with other duties to perform it at our pleasure. I suspected as much. That means our only hope is... It's okay, Nick. You can tell them. But, Maya, I thought you wanted to keep it a secret here in Khura'in. Don't worry. It's not like it's against the law or violates some religious precepts, so I don't think we'll be punished. At least, I hope not. But this is a crucial period for you. It'll decide whether you become master of Khura'in. We don't have any other choice now, do we? If I'm found guilty, it'll be a lot worse than not becoming a master of Khura'in. All right. Thanks, Maya. Actually, there is someone here who is capable of channeling spirits. But even Her Benevolence Princess Rafa finds a divination seance to be a challenge. Who could possibly have greater spiritual power than she, aside from the Queen? That would be... me. This is some sort of joke. Foreigner could not possibly have such power. Even the royal priestess isn't capable of such a feat. Peace. Peace, I say. Is this true? Is the accused capable of performing the secret art of spirit channeling? You know what, I've been looking for a place to end things. I think this might be the best place. We'll save this upheaval of the game board for next time. Wow. Okay, wow, okay, so, oh, jeez, okay, so, wow, oof. Gosh, I don't know, man. So Abbot Trust in Me killed his own adopted son? Because maybe the son discovered the rebel hideout and he had to be silenced?
Was Abbot in me truly so devoted to the defiant dragons that he would kill his own adopted son, who he'd known and taken in for 2 years? Boy. Huh. I guess that must be the case, but I am really shocked that that Belieb is not a part of this. Well, this is gonna be really interesting. I'm curious to see what this is gonna look like, because boy, when Ace Attorney's spirit mediums channel dead spirits, they take on the appearance of the deceased. And I'll be honest, Abbot in me is not a looker. It's gonna be weird to see Maya looking like him with those dead, soulless black eyes, but sure, I guess. And more to the point, this is gonna send shockwaves. Oh boy, Inga is not going to like this. I'm thinking this might actually steer towards a place where I theorized that Wright and Maya will be held prisoner here in Khura'in, and it might fall to the Wright Anything Agency back overseas to fly here and get them out. Legally, of course, but I still feel like we're quite a long ways away from solving this case completely. We probably have about 2, maybe 3 more videos to go until it's over. After all, we don't have anyone resembling a final witness on the stand, but I will say the next witness on the stand, after Abbot in me, I mean, is probably gonna be the final witness. We have 2 little pips of health left, so I have 1 chance to mess up, and then that's it. No safety nets after that, so ooh, it's gonna be interesting. We're cutting it close. I do like that this game series can still throw me curveballs, even though I'm... What, how many games is this? Let's see, 3, 5, 8, 10, 12... Yeah, this is the 13th game in the series that I've played, I think. Maybe I'm bad at math. You know what I mean. I'm Zephyr the Jester. My head is spinning. There's been more Spirit of Justice. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.